This shot from Abbas Kiarostami's Where is the Friend's House has become one of the most recognizable images of the film. The same can be said, though, about its two sequels, 1992's And Life Goes On, and 1994's Through the Olive Trees. Though Kiarostami is filming the same hill, the different mise-en-scène of each use evokes feelings that are singular to that film. This same differentiation applies to the whole trilogy. All are set in the real-life Rudbar County in northern Iran, but the way the setting and landscape are filmed changes in accordance with that installment's story, tone, and point of view. Kiarostami's first Koker film follows a child named Ahmedpour as he tries to return his friend's notebook after accidentally taking it during school. Ahmed's simple task, despite taking place between two towns, becomes an odyssey that seems impossible to achieve. The subjectivity of the cinematography is the main contributor of this grander feel. The village homes of Koker and Poshta become a maze that feels inescapable. Further establishing this view Ahmed has of where he grew up, Kiarostami only uses landscapes when Ahmed runs between the towns, but instead of showing the scale of this valley that he lives in, he uses repeated shots of just Ahmed's path. This demonstrates the way children shrink their worlds in their mind. Ahmed does not pay attention to the beauty around him, but instead sticks only to the path that he has been taught to travel on before. The point of view of Ahmed makes the landscape of this film seem small, but when moving on to the next film, the opposite is shown. And Life Goes On differentiates its setting very quickly from the first one. This film takes place in the wake of the 1990 earthquake that devastated both the small town of Koker and the entire Iranian population. It's Kiarostami's autobiographical tale of when he and his son drove out to Koker to make sure the main two kids from Where is the Friend's House survived. Gilberto Perez describes the difference between these two films by saying, And Life Goes On is a film about the small in the large, as Where is the Friend's House is about the large in the small. And Life Goes On is a road movie where the director and son drive around the whole county trying to reach Koker while hearing the devastating stories of those they meet along the way. Unlike its predecessor, the focus isn't just on Koker, but all these towns. The landscape similarly aims to capture this larger world by including the towns and homes in the background of shots. Instead of Ahmedpour's tiny world in the first one, there is a sense of how big this valley is and how many people's lives have been affected by this tragedy. The landscape in this film also pays special attention to the destruction caused by the earthquake. Any populated area they travel to exhibits fresh rubble from the disaster and the people coming together to fix it. In this shot, the mise-en-scène pits the car against this massive fissure, but cuts away before we see the car cross it from that perspective. At the end of the film, though, there is another shot like this where the director drives down this hill surrounded by more fissures. This time, though, we see him complete the drive-through, as if his journey was a success. Through the Olive Trees concludes the trilogy with a story that's themes are far different and more meta than either of its predecessors. This film is a narrative retelling of the shooting of one scene from And Life Goes On, in which Hossein, the actor playing a newlywed husband, is in love with the woman playing his wife, but is unable to marry her because of his lower status. Similar to And Life Goes On, Kiarostami seeks to establish the culture of this valley where Koker lies. We find out that many of the people have left the area following the earthquake to be closer to the highway, leaving the valley emptier. In one scene, the director character and the actor who plays the director in the second film, both stand-ins for Kiarostami, look out at the landscape and lament how peaceful it is, even calling out to the souls who perished there. The landscape after two films is filled with a sense of nostalgia, which Kiarostami expresses here. Laura Mulvey wrote, The interweaving of the stories around the earthquake creates lines of reference not only backwards across the films, but also forwards. In other words, each film has subtext that is given by each other film, hence why the landscape carries this nostalgia. The connectivity that also contrasts between the devastation of the second film and the peace of this one. There are shots similar to the previous film where, from the car, we can see the setting change around us. Previously in these shots, there would be many people working to fix the rubble. Olive Tree shows an empty valley with mostly vacant homes. This dichotomy contributes to the film's themes of artifice in movie making. It's meant to take place when they filmed Life Goes On, yet the culture that film depicted is nowhere to be seen. but a recreation of reality from after the earthquake. This artifice is explored once again in the final moments of the trilogy, where Hossein chases the woman he loves up the iconic hill. The director followed them during this scene and watches as Hossein runs up the hill from his original film. The callback serves as a reminder that this is a movie, a retelling of reality. The director seeing the hill plants the idea that this is where he saw the cinematic potential for this story. This is driven home by the final shot, where, because the director stayed behind, we the audience never get to see the resolution to Hossein's pursuits. The camera can only go where the director knows, and the moment between the couple, two real people, is just for them to share.